Hello, everybody. Hello. Thank you for being on this webinar and reviewing. It is pre-recorded. This is Thomas Kuster, Regional Sales Director for the Western United States with Alpha Park Milano. It's an honor and a privilege to be with you this way. This webinar will be roughly 15 minutes long, so it's relatively short. It is all about Lino, our fantastic wet line treatment line. It is the one and only hair shine treatment. So what we wanted to do in this webinar is to support you in looking at Lino from the standpoint of how to present it, the best story about it, so that you can sell it more easily and have very satisfied stylists, salons who will have very satisfied clients. So let's just go back into beauty school a little bit. And what I want you to know as a sales consultant is that most hairdressers, most licensed hairdressers, colorists, stylists, don't remember, at least not to the degree that they could recreate it for you, what I'm about to give you. So don't ever feel intimidated by using this information as though they'll have to remember it or as though they don't even know. Now, there are three main structures of the hair. And the one that we know the most about or talk the most about is the cuticle layer. And the cuticle layer has no color. It is overlapping shingles, if you will, that are protection for the actual hair strand. Now, the cuticle layer can be damaged relatively easily, which we'll talk about in a moment. What it's made up of is minerals. The second structure that I want to talk to you about is called the lipid layer, also referred to as the lipid cement layer. And this layer lies between the cuticle and the cortex. And we're going to talk about the cortex in a moment. Now, the lipid layer is really part of the cortex because the outer part of the cortex is made up of lipids. But if you can just imagine this thin layer of lipid material in between the cuticle and the cortex as additional protection. And by the way, the cuticle layer is not one single layer. It's anywhere between 5 layers and more. The more ethnic, strong, curly kind of hair has way more cuticle layers than, say, a finer Caucasian type of hair. And then the third part we're going to talk about is the cortex, which is the very center of the hair strand. It's made up of amino acids. It is keratin. This is where all hair color exists. Natural hair color and permanent hair color molecules reside inside the cortex. This is why protecting the cortex becomes very important, especially if, in fact, you're using a permanent hair color molecule versus the natural hair color molecule. Because, as you all know, wearability is what we're all after, and we don't want to lose that which we put in. Sorry, I got a little distracted. What else did I want to say to you? There is the medulla layer, by the way. Not all hair has it, and as far as we know, it has no use, so we don't talk about it. There's nothing we're going to do with it. Okay, so let's just take a look at the cuticle. The cuticle can be damaged easily. How? Well, simply backcombing can bust up the cuticle a bit, excessive brushing, just the simple act of shampooing or using rubber bands or bobby pins can disrupt the cuticle. Anything highly alkaline will open the cuticle, and if the cuticle's open and you backcomb, brush, shampoo, use rubber bands or bobby pins, it's much more susceptible to damage. The lipid cement layer, it can be damaged with heat. Flat irons, curling irons, and blow dryers. It's a little tougher, so therefore you don't damage it quite as easily. And by the way, the lipid layer seems to be where most of the moisture is held for the hair strand. And then the cortex, the only way you can damage the cortex is first you got to get by the cuticle, then you got to get by the lipid layer. And the only way to do that we know of so far is chemical services, which would include bleach, color, relaxers. It is the hardest part of the hair to damage, but once damaged, it's also the hardest to repair. So the very first thing we want to do is determine what does the client need. So now we're speaking now from a hairdresser point of view. You're talking to your hairstylist, hairdresser, you're talking to them about Lino, and you say, how do you determine what your client needs? If our ultimate desire is always to get the hair back to a normal state, back to its natural state, how do we do that? Well, there's two tests that you can conduct. The first one's called the compatibility test. This determines hydration. So first, you want to detangle the hair and then use a fine-tooth comb and comb through the hair. Now, I know the screen says brushing, but you're going to comb through the hair rapidly from scalp to ends. If it's well hydrated, your fine-tooth comb will slip through, and if it's not well hydrated, it will get stuck. So now let's say it gets stuck. What does that tell you? It tells you that the hair needs hydration. And in Lino, what would you choose for hydration? That's right, you'd use the moisture line. But keep in mind, our goal is to get the hair back to its natural state. So if I recommend moisture, and I'm the hairstylist talking to my client, I'm going to say, client, because your hair lacks hydration, given our test we just did, I'm recommending you use moisture until I tell you different. So next time the client comes back, I'm going to do the compatibility test again. And if the hydration is back up, I'm now going to recommend what? The diamond line. I'm going to recommend the diamond line because now all I want to do is maintain the natural state of the hair. And I'll have, this client will have 2 of my lines in their bathroom, and as soon as hydration gets lost again, which it likely will because they'll likely still have the same styling habits, then I'll have them switch back over to moisture. I think you followed the line of thought there. This is a treatment line. The second test that we do is called the elasticity test. This is a test to determine damage in the cortex. So you're going to use wet hair, and you're going to take hair from about 4 sections, and you want at least 5, 6, 7, even 8 hairs, okay? And you're going to gently pull the hair, stretching it. Healthy hair, that is, where the cortex has little or no damage, it can stretch up to 50% and then bounce back. That is, returning to its natural shape. But if the hair is damaged, it will stretch less, and then it will break versus return back. So if I do the elasticity test and the hair breaks, what will I now recommend to that client in my chair? That's right, reconstruct. And again, they will use reconstruct until I tell them different. So I'm recommending to my client, I want you to use reconstruct, and you'll be back here in 4 weeks, and we're going to test it again. And on that test, if the cortex is no longer damaged, I'm not telling this to the clients, I'm telling this to you, the stylist, and me, then I'm going to recommend the diamond line, because we're always getting the hair back to its natural, normal state. We don't want them continuing to use Reconstruct until I tell them to use it again. You see, over-proteinizing the hair can eventually cause breakage. You're not interested in that. You're interested in strength and elasticity. So here's a couple things to know about the competition versus Alpha Parf. Our competitors have a small amount of amino acids, lipids, and minerals. Our products, your Alpha Parf treatment line, Lino, is highly concentrated with amino acids, lipids, and minerals. The Reconstruct is mostly amino acids. It has a small amount of lipids and minerals. So because there's so many amino acids, you want to guide the client. You're telling the stylist this. Guide your client in its use. When they come back in a month, check the hair and determine if they should continue that or if they should switch. Moisture is mostly lipids with a small amount of minerals and amino acids. Why? Because most of the moisture barrier is in the lipids. The diamond line is mostly minerals, vitamins, with a small amount of lipids and amino acids. So the diamond line is designed for shine. It's designed for maintaining color. It's designed for beautifying the hair. It is not designed to reconstruct or moisturize. It is a normalizing shampoo, conditioner, or line. We all know reconstruction is intense repair shine therapy with the green label. What is it for? It's an intensive therapy that day after day gradually replenishes the hair to restore, key word, restore, lost strength and elasticity without leaving it stiff. How do we do that? Well, it's made with bamboo marrow, which delivers strength and elasticity. It has cortex repair, which takes care of the damage deep inside the hair, and it replenishes the hair shaft, preventing it from regressing. At the same time, it does moisturize to give a soft, silky result, but it is not your moisturizing answer, okay? We have shampoo, we have mask, we have the reparative lotion. The shampoo, of course, gently cleanses and fortifies. But what's it really doing? It's restoring strength and elasticity, and it's repairing that damaged hair to get it back to a natural state. The reparative mask, it helps to stop breakage immediately and rebuild the hair shaft. It's an intensive conditioning treatment. The reparative lotion, it's instant, and it's a long-lasting smoother to give the hair a smooth look. And when it's used daily, the hair regains its vitality, its natural vitality. Intense leave-in treatment that repairs brittle hair. So that's Reconstruct. The anti-breakage daily fluid. This lightweight leave-in spray adds extreme strength and flexibility. It seals the cuticle and provides a protective barrier to stop breakage. And then, of course, SOS emergency oil. And this is the extreme treatment. Professional treatment for severely damaged hair. We recommend that you use it with heat. When you do, it deeply penetrates and repairs the internal structure, and it gets rinsed out. Moisture. Perfect nutrition shine therapy. What's it for? It's a full-blown therapy that nourishes without leaving the hair lanky, limp. In a short time, moisture and nourishment are restored, which is the goal. How do we do that? We use sugars, NutriSugar, which is obtained from honey. NutriSugars hold moisture inside the fiber. So it re-moisturizes the hair, and it nourishes it, and it brings it back to its natural or normal state over time. So there's a shampoo. It cleanses, of course, but as it cleanses, It's nourishing and it's hydrating. The leave-in conditioner. It's a gentle detangler and anti-knotting treatment. It makes hair combable and manageable, and it's lightweight, so it doesn't weigh the hair down. The nutritive mask rehydrates and replenishes dry hair, and it infuses moisture deep into the hair shaft. How deep? Into the lipid layer. It restores luster, manageability, and vitality. We also have the essential oil, which is a treatment, and that gives a deep, moisturizing, nutritional shock treatment. It infuses intense nourishment to the hair shaft, and it gets rinsed out. Split ends recovery fluid. It prevents hairs from splitting. It infuses moisture, and it nourishes hair. It's a leave-in formula, and it creates a flexible lattice to seal and repair dry split ends. And then Diamond, Shine Perfection. What's it for? It's an authentic concentrate that revitalizes the hair, delivering the right blend of shine and condition that results in beautiful hair day after day. This is the normalizing shampoo. It is the naturalizing shampoo. What does it contain? A vitamin complex, A, E, F. New energy to the fiber thanks to their antioxidant properties. So their shampoo cleanses, adds shines, protects color. Conditioner, weightless, adds shine, protects color. Eliminating mask, intense conditioning, revitalizing. It takes dull, lifeless hair and brings it with an extreme shine. And then, of course, what everybody loves, Cristalli, an infinite touch of light, fully blown, instant hair makeover for immediate shocking gloss. And then also the Cristalli spray. We have the blue vials and the pink vials. The blue vials are a rinse-out treatment, and the pink vials are a leave-in treatment. The blue vial illuminates hair fiber, and it reduces roughness, and it smooths the surface of the hair, whereas the pink vial restores natural shine, adds body and flexibility. There's the Extraordinary All-in-One Fluid, which, as you all know, is a big seller. It is a great product to sample. It has 10 benefits that we speak about. There's probably another 90 that don't even get mentioned. Number one, it has extreme instant shine. Number two, protects color to prolong its shine and intensity. Number three, it's a detangler. Number four, it protects from UVA and UVB rays. 5, prevents split ends. 6, controls the style. 7, protects against humidity. 8, seals the cuticles for flowing hair. 9, leaves hair soft and silky. 10, reduces blow dry time. Big seller for us. So now, of course, we also have, which we didn't include here, just because the parts of our line in Lino that we just showed you are the parts of the line that are directly connected to restoration and getting back to normal. We also have volumizing, the volume line. The volume line, I just want you to know, would be next to the diamond line. Why? Because people who have limp, lifeless hair, they're always going to have limp, lifeless hair, so they're always going to need volume. What if the person who needs volume also needs moisturizing? Well, then instead of, you're going to get them on moisture. My recommendation is you have them use one element in the volume, might be the conditioner or it might be one of the sprays. And then once the moisture is restored, you'll switch them completely to volume. Scalp therapy, chances are they'll always stay on scalp therapy. But as you know, we always need to switch them up a bit. So we're training our hairstylists, our hairdressers, to be the ones that switch them up and keep them within the same brand. And then there is discipline. And hair that needs discipline will likely always need discipline. So just like volume and just like diamond line, you will use discipline as a normalizing line. So what if they need more moisture? Or what if they need reconstruction? This is the client for me that I might have them alternate daily versus waiting the 4 weeks. So this is some good, helpful tips on how to sell Semi-Lino to your stylist and to support them in how to present it and sell it to their clients. It is the #1 treatment line. It's designed to normalize the hair. We move them from one line to another within the Semi-Lino brand. Thank you all very, very much for listening to the webinar. I hope it was valuable for you, and you have an extraordinary rest of your week. Bye-bye.